Hey man, I live in a place where there's not too many open atheists. Definitely not.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to this shit's a rant. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar Tim. This is and Raw this week was in the Thunderdome. But it was, however, not in Orlando. This is the new Thunderdome, where it's in Tampa. They moved. Yeah. But before we get into Raw, switch gears. No big news, so we're going straight into last week via the SmackDown Rewind and big highlights from last week's SmackDown. Whew. Well, Carmella had a match with Sasha for the women's title. It ended in a schmoz and Carmella smashed a bottle of champagne over Sasha's back. There was a build-up video for Bayley and Bianca Belair feud, which I'm all for. Big E had a singles match with Sammy, more building up for an Intercontinental title match. I'm good with. Also build up for the TLC match between Owens and Reigns, where Owens straight up destroyed, and if you listened closely, you could hear the sounds of a million fangirls' ovaries explode the second you heard Roman Reigns say, "Kids, you need to go and tell your daddy." Because the second Roman said daddy, you could just hear all the fangirls show, oh. Which I'm not judging because, I got my things, I got my kinks. Them girls got theirs. It's all good. We all got our thing. But, yeah, that's about it. So, on to this week's show. It starts off with The Miz being out there in the middle of the ring reading The Nightmare Before TLC. And very WWE-esque rendition of The Night Before Christmas. It was kind of funny because you had, when Miz would go and as he was reading it, and then came AJ Styles. And then the light would come on and he'd be there. And then AJ showed up, and as Miz was about to read, don't forget my big friend over here, Omos. And then Ed showed him, and then Miz, that missing a cue. Well, yeah, but we had to make director's cut, so. And then the lights went off. And then he introduced McIntyre, which then brought out, then had Morrison dressed up like a Scot, dressed up like fucking William Wallace. And then this really, really bad, third grade play rendition, third grade play recital version of Braveheart sword fighting scene. And then just, yeah. It was just complete gaga and horse shit, but it made me laugh. And I couldn't fucking help it. Oh, if it makes me laugh, I can't get mad at it. It's just a rule I got. I can't help it. So, as much as I wanted to be mad at this, it fucking made me laugh. For all the right reasons. Because it was supposed to be fucking shitty and campy like the fucking 60s Batman shit, so I couldn't help but fucking laugh. And then out came Jimmy. Sheamus came out looking all sorts of pissed, And then proceeded to taunting and teasing. And then we get to a match between AJ Styles and Sheamus. And right at the start, Jimmy just straight up powering Styles through it. And Styles, eventually starts working on Sheamus's left knee. Starts wearing him down through that. It's nice to see. It was a decent match. It was, yep, to take a quote from Vince, "God damn, pal, this is such good shit." That's about the best I can describe that match. But, match came to an end when Styles got the win when Sheamus went for a top rope white noise. Styles came down, chop blocked, and then did a fucking roll-up, which, God almighty, I fucking hate roll-up finishes. It feels like a cheap it feels like the most overused move for a fucking don't know on how to end a match. Like, well, we got these two guys who can put on a good match, but we're not quite sure on how we want to make the ending. Oh, well, we'll just have them do a roll-up. A fucking roll-up? Just like... You know, it's like getting one of those long-winded... It's like when you get a long-winded text from somebody, and it's like when you put out a long-winded message to somebody and all they respond is with, okay. Like, the fuck? Ugh. Anyways, next matchup we got Trios match. Jeff Hardy and The New Day going against the Hurt Business. Lashley, Cedric, and Shelton. MVP was sitting ringside for him. Well, not sitting, but he was standing ringside with his boys. Decent enough. Had a nice start to it, you know. Kofi wound up becoming a punching bag during the match, though. Riddle was ringside as well for emotional support, I guess, because, you know, last week Riddle wound up pitching to Jeff, hey, we team up, we be the Hardy Bros, and then before the match started, they showed Jeff talking to Riddle and saying, yeah, the Hardy Bros is going to be a thing, and just didn't... Yeah. But as far as the match goes, it was a decent match. This was a damn good match. It was decent. I dug it. You know, I mean, it wasn't nothing to write home about, like, to put on a highlight reel, but it was decent enough. You know, match eventually came to an end when Jeff was in the ring. He was about to go and do Whisper in the Wind to Lashley. He was up on the top. Cedric, who was on the apron, came over. Boom. Went and distracted Jeff, which then gave Lashley enough time to be able to go over, pop in the full Nelson Hurt Lock on Jeff, ragdoll him a little, and then Jeff tapped. So, yeah. Next up, we got women's action with Lana going against Nia Jax, and... oh, fuck me pink. This was a fucking schmoz of a match. It was, Lana was out there, Jax powered her for like a good minute and a half, and then right out of nowhere, Lana got a roll-up win where she hooked her legs over like that, and it was quick 1, 2, 3. Next thing you know, they show Shayna Baszler did a sneak attack on Asuka, and then she came out. Shayna and Nia then did a 2-on-1 beatdown on Lana, and then Asuka did the save, and then unfortunately Lana, due to that beatdown, Lana is no longer medically cleared to be able to compete at TLC for the women's tag titles with Asuka, which now leaves in the air, what now? We'll get to that in a minute, but next up we got Keith Lee going against Miz and Morrison in a handicap match, and this came to be because as Miz and Morrison were backstage contemplating and talking about on how Styles was saying, you know, AJ's on board with them winning because because it'd be easier for AJ to beat Miz for the title as opposed to McIntyre, and then Keith Lee jumped in, interjected, and insisted that he have a match against that Miz and Morrison, and I'm not a fan of handicap matches. I'm not. I don't want to say they're gimmick matches because I reserve the idea of a gimmick match like a steel cage, an ODQ, Judy Bagwell on a pole, Vince Russo's nuts on a forklift, that kind of shit that kind of shit's a gimmick match. A handicap match just seems like a shitty idea for a match because it's honestly, unless you do it right, you're making your tag team look like a fucking joke against one guy. And you got Keith Lee, who's a super heavyweight, going against Miz and Morrison, who are both what's the right term? Middleweight, I believe it is. They're like in the 220, 230 regions. But it's not. Lee was leading right at the start, right up into the break. After the break, Miz and Morrison started the lead afterwards, but the ending wound up leading me to just like, what the fuck? Because honest to God, I try to be a positive guy. I really do. You go back and you watch some of the other episodes on this show, I try to be. I really do try to be positive, and I try and look for the good in the shit. But my God, tonight's episode was just, fucking, I'm at a loss for words on how to try and find a way to fucking redeem it. The only positive side was I got to see fucking Asuka. That's my positive note. And I'll get to the other ones in a minute, but, I mean, the match came to an end. Miz and Morrison won by... Lee had Morrison up, looked like he was about to hit him with the Big Bang Catastrophe. Next thing you know, Miz did a chop block. Morrison then landed on top of him, and then Miz sandwiched himself on top of Morrison to do a 1-2-3 double pin, which... I try not to do armchair quarterbacking. I really don't. But if I was going to set that finish up, how I would have done it. Have something like Miz and Morrison, like Lee go for the Big Bang Catastrophe, get it. Then Miz distracting the ref, buying time. Next thing you know, then Morrison getting the Money in the Bank briefcase, wham, cracking Lee with it, do some kind of chicken shit, heel shit. But just that kind of two guys sitting on top of him for a pin, just didn't seem like a right. That probably would have floated in like 1993, 95, but just 2020, that just didn't seem right. Next up, we got Mace from Retribution going against Ricochet. And for those who may not know, Mace was Dio Madden, who was doing commentary when the brand extensions first started. And yeah, I fucking was all for the idea. Once they said, Dio was going to be competing again, I was like, alright, cool, way cool. I'm a proponent of give opportunity. Even if it's a shitty opportunity, I mean, I'll give the best example I could possibly think of. Look at fucking Dusty Rhodes. He had an opportunity. He got put in polka dots, and as much as everyone can swear up and down, oh, Vince did that to bury him, or Vince did that as a rib, whatever the fuck it was. He fucking went with it and made it into something. He had an opportunity and he took it. That's the thing. Guys need to be able to do that more. And I think Dio, I hope all of the people in Retribution are doing that. Are looking at it in that sense. But Mace wound up pretty much leading the match. I mean, Ricochet got his shots in, but on how the match came to an end, just as Ricochet was starting to pick up momentum, next thing you know, Slapjack, I'm eventually get Slapdick's name right, went to run interference, boom, Ricochet stopped him, T-Bar came in, Ricochet stopped him. Next thing you know, Mace wound up getting him, wound up doing like this sit-down slam, kind of looked like a weird guy. I don't know on how else to describe it except it kind of looked almost like one of Corbin's moves, But Mace got the win, 1-2-3, that was it. Next up we got Shayna Baszler going against Dana Brooke, which was again a squash match. This match came to an end real quick when just as Dana was picking up some momentum, Nia Jax stepped in, boom, popped Dana, and then they started to do a beatdown. And as they're doing a beatdown, next thing you know, out of nowhere, Mandy Rose, which is the other positive note that I could think of for this show, came in. She came out, started beating Shayna and Nia with a Singapore cane, and then out came Asuka, and all three of them started to clean up house and got the bad girls out of the ring. So the possibility now, and I'm thinking and I'm freestyling here, possibly triple threat tag match. Nia and Shayna going against Mandy and Dana against Asuka and mystery opponent. As far as who? Honestly, I'm not quite sure on who to say, but yeah. So now we come to the last match of the night. MVP going against Riddle, and Riddle coming out with a thing of donuts that he's calling bro nuts, which just really, no. The jokes are just writing themselves right there. I cannot help it because fucking Tom Phillips was talking about on how Matt Riddle made these bro nuts, and my first thought was, so Tom Phillips went from face fucking to shoving bro nuts down his throat. Have fun with that comment, boys and girls. This was another short-lived match. It just, honestly, the matches felt like they were too short and too condensed. You know, I mean, I'm very story-driven, yeah. I'm very story-driven when it comes to wrestling. I can give two shits about, as much as I like athleticism, I don't put an emphasis on it. I put more of an emphasis on story, but I wanted to see more story with the in-ring action. And I didn't see that, and I was seriously unsatisfied tonight with it, with that result. Riddle got the win doing the floating bro on to MVP, and it just, yeah. So now we come to the closing segment of the night. It was a christening ceremony, or however the hell they called it. It was that ceremony where they put the title on the anchor thing and then hoist it up for the ladder match coming up on Sunday. Uncle Alan came out and then Drew came out. Both were hyping up on how AJ was hyping up about, you know, I just want you to think about this for a minute. You know, look at you. You're like the total package, man. And you go and you talk about how it took you 19 years to get to where you're at now. You know, 19 years. It didn't take that long for me. I got here. I got the title. You didn't. And then McIntyre pretty much solidified himself with me with this one single promo right here. Wasn't because of the intensity, but because of the verbiage that he used. He said point blank, you know, I don't crack under pressure. I become a diamond. You look at this past year, I have carried this damn show. I have carried it. He may not have said this show. He may have said something different, but along those lines. And that's what got me, because, god damn, he's right. He did. He worked his ass off each and every damn night, whether he was competing or not. Whether it was for a promo, a backstage segment, or whatever the fuck. He busted his ass and did his damnedest. I may not have liked it all, but he still did his damnedest. So, yeah. Then it led to... Then Miz and Morrison came out. McIntyre started cleaning up house, and then AJ wound up getting a shot in with a chair, and then splashed him in through a table, and then climbed up and grabbed the title like, yeah, I'm gonna win. So 10 get you 20, Uncle Alan ain't. So, yeah. So, that is it for this week's show, folks. So, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes if you can. Please look for me on the Twitter at TimVicious. Also on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. You're gonna look for me on my Facebook gimmick. You know you found me on there from here or my Twitter at TimVicious. I don't think I creep John going. Leave any interesting questions, complaints, concerns, grunts, groans, whatever the hell you want to say down below in the comments. I'm not shy of answering. Also, folks, thank you to contributor to the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. They're a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, a lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. Also, thank you to my executive producer for the show, Ali Ray Ben, who did provide the music for the show. Check him out. His music is on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, all that good shit. Details are down below. Also, make sure y'all follow these cool ass cats right now on the Twitter. At some Logan Kenny Kill at DSB_IV, Diabolica R.A.'s, and Sergeant Curry Pants. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck you.